Thank you for joining us. Today is going to be a webinar on our new feature called FeedEditor. Okay, you can actually see the nice little logo here. This is a brand new feature that has been submitted by ITOR. Okay, for those of you who are ITOR clients, you know and you've seen this before. It was kind of betaed before, and now we've done a big new release on it. If you are an ITOR user, you'll see it within the ITOR interface. Okay, you'll see here the feed solution. There's three different sections of the interface, and today we're going to go over those three sections. If you would like, this FeedEditor is also a standalone option. Okay, so those of you who may have been with us previously with ITOR, don't want to use the rest of the software, you just want to use the feed editing option, that's also an option. Okay, you can do that. We have a brand new website called FeedEditor.com. You can actually take a look here. And you can sign up for an account that is just FeedEditor based. Okay? So this is our lovely website for the FeedEditor software. It is standalone, but like I mentioned, you also have it within the ITOR software free of charge. So those of you who already enjoy ITOR will also enjoy the FeedEditor and use today to kind of take a look, see how else you can take advantage of this great new feature. Okay, so let's begin. I want to start off with the actual feed editor itself. Okay, that's what we call here in the ITOR system the feed editor. So if I go ahead and click on that, I come to my home page of the FeedEditor software. Now, FeedEditor is a software that allows you to edit feeds, kind of suggested by the name there. And I have a nice little load a sample feed. All of you have access to this as well, so if you kind of want to play around with the software before using your own feed, you can do that. That is for ITOR clients that already have access. Okay, if you want to take a look at the FeedEditor and you do not have an ITOR account, then just leave us your contact details on the FeedEditor website, and we can give you a tour, demo of the software, show you around, and perhaps even do it on your own feed if you give that to us. Okay, but let's take a look at the capabilities. What can our feed editor do? Okay, now the beauty of this feed editor is that it's doing these edits live. What does that mean when I say I'm taking a feed and I'm editing it live? Basically what it means is that if my original feed changes, new products are added, something has been edited and added a new field on my back end, ITOR will take that into consideration as well. It continuously reads your original feed URL. And this software essentially allows you to make additional edits. Now, this is very beneficial if you've worked with the programmers before. You know that they have a lot of things on their minds, a lot of different projects. You can't always get the customization or the changes that you need right away. Okay, this can take quite a lot of time. So instead of relying on your programmers to make a whole bunch of custom edits for you, you can do that yourself here in the feed editor. Okay, so you have your original URL, which means that I have some basic information of my product. Maybe in this case, I have about 100 products, right, that I've taken from the back end of my website. This, unfortunately, does have to be done either by a programmer or by a third-party software. You may already have some plugins that allow you to kind of export some of that data. But as you probably know, most of that data isn't very clean. Okay, there's always going to be something that you need to do to edit, to fix, to slightly adjust, to make it a better feed and to be able to use it for a lot of different parties. Okay, so that's what we want to do here in the feed editor. We want to be able to say, let's make a change, whether it's minor, whether it's major, however we want to change or fix our feed, we can do that here in FeedEditor. Okay, so I have my original feed where the source of the data is being pulled from. And then I have the option to do a lot of different things. So what can we do? let's say I need to add a brand new column, right? I can go ahead and add a brand new one, calling it whatever I want. In this case, let's call it a margin column. Okay, and I may want to copy over some content. Let's just say for now I want to base information on my price. Okay, went ahead and did that. That ended up being all the way on the right over here. Okay, and right now all I said is both these. It seems like we just kept getting mixed signals here. People kept trying to open up the same presentation. So sorry about that. It shouldn't happen again. Let's I guess we continue where we left off. I might have to reiterate a few things, so bear with me just a few seconds. Okay. All right. So we said that FeedITOR is a way of editing feeds in real time. Real time means as the feed gets updated, so does the edit that we make on it. So for example, we started with two different things that we can do. The first one was adding a brand new column to our feed. For example, we add margin, column that is called margin, and it's currently filled in with the value of the column. And we also hid one of the columns, meaning basically we deleted it from our export. Okay, so as our feed gets updated, as we get new product, we still will have a brand new column. It will still be filled in with the values of our price, and we still will go ahead and remove the model column from it. Okay, what else can we do besides adding and subtracting columns? We can also use a filter. Okay, let's say I have a feed that is quite large, let's say about 40,000 products, 100,000 products, however large it is. And for a specific third-party shopping engine, I really don't need all of them. I want to only include a portion of the items, maybe the ones that are my best sellers. Whatever it is, we can use our filter to say, let's go ahead and only include things that do not equal the following value, equal the following value, are greater than, less than, or equal to, or are fitting into a specific range. So let's just say that we want our best-selling ones, and the way I would do that is perhaps to filter here my price and say anything that is greater than or equal to maybe 100 euros. Those are my better performance ones because I spend more. Sorry, when I sell those items, I get more return on my investment. Okay, so I go ahead and exclude that. Sorry, 1 second. Go ahead and clear that out. Gonna go ahead and do a little action here and do that again. Okay, sorry. So when I use a filter, like I just did, I think, by the way, that I had 100 products before. I went down to 77 products, so I've kind of filtered out the products that had a lower price that weren't so good for me. But when I do want to do that filter, I do need it to be a number, especially when I'm talking about greater than or equal to, less than. All of those are numeric values. And if you noticed before, I had not only the price, but also the word euro. Okay, I do need to remove that in order to do a filter. Okay, so that's actually what I did before. As I said, let's go ahead and just extract just the number. Well, I want to keep just the number so that I can do math on it. I can do filtration and show only the relevant items. Okay, which brings me to the next thing that we can do with our feed. And that is editing the actual text, editing the content of a specific cell or across the board on the whole field. Okay, so let's just say, for example, that I would like to show only an actual number value. Okay, then I went over here to my editing of the entire field, and I said, let's extract the number. Let's keep only the number. Okay, that's one thing that we can do. I can also do additional things. For those of you who had seen FeedEditor before, our earlier version of it, it was kind of limited. You could only do one action on a column. Obviously, that's not ideal. And in this case, we want to do additional things. I can add text to the column. I could do basically any one of these actions, and then I can do another action on it. I can keep going. I can do quite a few different actions until I manipulate the column to show what I would like it to show. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and X out on these for right now because I'm on the price column and I really do want it to be just a number. But let's take a look here at our category or our product type. As you know, in Google Merchant, or some of you who are familiar with Google Merchant will know that product type is sometimes useful. I know that Google product type is kind of mandatory there. Okay. Let's say we want to keep that as is. We do want it to go to Google Merchant, but our product type, we would like to kind of filter that down, show only sections of it. Okay, I don't need the category. I just want the drill down. I want the last part of my product type. That's also something we can do. Again, we come here, we want to edit the value. And we want to use the extract function. Again, this is to keep only certain things. So I want to extract. And in this case, the thing I would like to keep is the second portion. Okay? Anything that is after the greater than sign. And if I had multiple greater than signs, I really would just like the last one. Okay? So I have to just tell the system what is it that separates the values of information. Okay? I could, for example, also use the and symbol here. And symbol also symbolizes a break between different things. I have before the and symbol, after the and symbol, and I have two of them. So I have 1, 2, 3 sections. If I take the and symbol and I say that's what separates out my information, then I'll have 3 different portions that I can do. Basically the first index, the second index, and the third index. But in this case, I don't want the and symbol, I want the greater than symbol, and I only have 2 parts, the first and the second. So let's go ahead and put in our delimiter or separator, greater than symbol. And I can either say the second index, meaning always take the second one, so whatever's after the greater than symbol, or I can say I don't really care how many there are going to be. It's possible that there's going to be 2, there's going to be 3, there's going to be 5. Always take the last one. Okay? And went ahead and lowered down or extracted just a section of the data from product type. Now let's say I want to continue to do more information after that. Okay, I can add an additional action on it. And let's go ahead and actually extract using the and symbol. Okay, in this case though, I only want the first part. I think that vehicle parts is really great, and mass air meters is what I want. So I can say take the first index, meaning everything before the first and. Wow, look at that. All the data cleared out. Now I have actual text that I can use for whatever purpose I did this for. Now, I think I mentioned that it's feed editing. It's really a great tool. It does, you know, the editing of the feed. But feeds are just the first step. When you're trying to do anything, whether it's creating a shopping campaign, whether it's putting your products on eBay, on Amazon, on affiliate networks, whatever it is, whatever third party that you are trying to use to submit this feed to, it's always going to be just the first step, right? The first step along the way. And what's really nice is that the AdCore system does complement this with the next steps for shopping in AdWords, for doing bid management in AdWords and Bing, and additional things. So I just want to kind of keep that in context. It's always good to have this. It's always good for the first step of things. And if you want to continue and do more steps with the AdCore system, we also have that available. Okay, so what else can we do? Let's take a look at the actions, the types of things that we can do. And again, don't forget, we can always layer these one after the other. Okay, adding text, fairly simple. It means that I can add additional text to the field, whether it's a number and I want to add to the end of it something, or whether it's like my title and I want to add an additional one word. I can go ahead and use this to add the word the. at the beginning of everything. Okay, great, I added the. What else? I can also add it to the end. I can change capitalization. If capitalization is very important, I want to get everything in uppercase. Bam, already done. Okay, copying the column, you've kind of already seen where you can copy over the information from a different column. Extracting, like we basically just saw, allows you to say, what is it that separates my data, and give me the first, the second, the third portion based on that delimiter. Extracting the number, just give me the number. I don't care about the text, I just want the number. Generation of an automatic ID. Now, this one's kind of cool because it gives you a way of putting together a 13-digit number. That's what it does. It creates a 13-digit number, but it bases it on a specific field. Okay, what does that mean? Let's say I have something that's sort of unique, or maybe I don't have something that's unique, and I would really like to have a unique number for each row in my feed. Okay, I need an ISBN number, or I need like an automatic ID. And I can't do it, I can't do a series of numbers. I can't do just label it 1 to 100, because the next time around, the next time that the feed loads, it's not going to have the same one, right? If right now the first line on my feed starts with the 99 to 04 Mustang, that could be dropped down to row number 5, to row number 100, row number 20,000. I don't know what the order is going to be. It can change with time. So I want to be able to generate an ID that's going to be unique, but you have to give us something in the feed that is unique to base that number on. So if, for example, my title is unique, I only have one product title on every row, then I can say go ahead and use the title field to generate an automatic ID. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay? And it gave me, here's the 13-digit number. And it will always be the same number. As long as the text in this title field is exactly the same, this number will stay exactly the same. Okay? It is beneficial if you need to kind of number things or get a definite ID based on something else that is unique in the feed. Okay, let's actually clear that out because I really want my booth still. What else can we do? Okay, we talked about the auto ID. If this, then that. It's fairly simple, straightforward. If statement, it's kind of like a black and white type thing. If I have the word 3D carbon, then I really would like it to say free shipping. Anything else, it's 2 to 3 day shipping. Okay, that went ahead and made those changes. If it's true, it does what I wrote. If it's false, it does straightforward. Remove weight and dimension. A lot of times you have things like 2 centimeters, 2 kilograms, 50 grams. All of those types of things that are weights, dimensions, centimeters, grams, kilograms, anything that is basically a number followed by text, this function will go ahead and remove that for you. Okay, so that kind of cleans up your title sometimes, makes it a little bit better for people shopping. Okay, what else can we do? Replace. Let's say that I have a specific word that I really want to change. So hold on, let me just get in clear here. I don't want to do one thing half of the other. In this case, it's kind of confusing. So let's just go ahead and say that 3D Carbon is not really my brand. Every time it says 3D Carbon, I actually mean to say something else. Okay, so I can actually do a rewrite. For this specific cell, or anything that said 3D Carbon like it said it before, go ahead and change that to 3D Carbon. Okay, you can actually see that it already did that for you here in replacement. So anytime that I find this text, go ahead and change it with this text. That's exactly what we had before with just the replace, except it does it for one thing. If you want to do multiple things, you can use the bulk replace, and you have room to type in more things like BBK, change that to BBK like that. No, this one doesn't have anything, so let's just this out. Okay. Why did that not do? Oh. There you go. Okay, so I managed to add only portion. I edit basically portions of the cell of the value, and I can do that, like you saw, by also just clicking on the cell itself, and it automatically does this for me. Okay, what else can we do? Select a substring. What does that mean? You can kind of see that also here as well. When I say a substring, it means a portion of the text within my cell or within my columns. Okay? It means that I'm only selecting some of it. When I say all word, it means it's only one word. So one word, this wouldn't work, right? 3D carbon is actually 2 words, so that doesn't work. Because I'm not looking at one word, but if I am looking for one word, I can also use that version. And all phrase means it has to start and end this way. Okay, so technically, I think all phrase should also work in this case. Let's just double check that that will work. Nope, didn't do the BBK because all phrase means it doesn't match it exactly. Right, performance is still there. So a substring says if I find a portion of it, go ahead and make that edit. Okay, so that's the same thing with selecting a substring. Okay, in this case, I can say start at the beginning and give me 3 characters in, and don't cut the word in the middle. Okay, I think in this case we needed to do 1 through 4. There we go. It always will take the first 3 characters or of the text that I have. What else can we do? See, selecting a word. Again, this is fairly similar to selecting a substring, but in substring you're saying how many characters do I want, and with words you're saying how many words do I want to keep. So let's actually change this over to a word, and let's start at the beginning and take 2 from the left. Okay, if language starts on the right, you can also do it on the right. Okay, we always have now the first 2 words, but let's just take from the first to the first. That should give us our first word. Okay. And additionally, we have something called URL coding. This is a way of, it's actually really good for tracking purposes. If you've ever worked with the URLs that need tracking, you know that sometimes you have to wrap the original URL with some, tracking URL. So in order to use it, use your original URL, you have to do some encoding, and let's actually show you what that looks like. Here's a URL, right? Let's go ahead and do an encoding of it. And let's encode it. What that does, if you see, we switched over from 2 dot / / it gave us this encoding instead. Okay, periods are fine, but any other type of symbol is encoded. And now what I can do is I can kind of add text to before and after it with my tracking wrap, and it will still take me to this URL at the end. Okay, if you're kind of confused about that, you can kind of look it up, what you can do with the URL encoding and decoding. But if, for example, you receive your feed in this way, you can also decode it and get it back to its original version as well. Okay, so we kind of went over adding new column, hiding, showing, filtering, and editing. Now we also have a kind of really neat feature called stats or statistics. Now, especially when you have very large feeds, it's kind of nice to know what you have in that specific column. So if I look at my brand column in this example, which only has 77 items right now after I filtered it, I have 7 distinct values. Okay, if I were to count up all of the brands that I have exactly 7 different brands. And you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different brands. And how many of each one do I have? 24 that are BBK, 12 that are performance, 8 that are auto, and 1 that's classic, which is that first one right there. Okay, so it really gives you a nice viewpoint of what it is you're dealing with. A lot of times if you are trying to take a feed and submit it into a campaign, create campaigns out of it, it's very beneficial to know how many brands you have, how many items are we talking about. If I put together, these 3 brands in one campaign, already I know how many items I'm going to have in that campaign. Okay, you can download this to an Excel. Okay, download exactly how many values you have, and you can search through. So if you happen to have quite a lot of unique values, let's do URLs here. Okay, 77 unique ones. Let's find the one that includes the word classic, if it's even there. Nope, don't have the word classic, but maybe I have BBK. Okay, and here are all of the ones that have BBK in them. Looks like all of them do. Let's try Mustang. Okay, it shows us which ones have the Mustang. If I'm looking for something specific, I can kind of copy and paste a section. Okay, and I find that specific URL that I'm looking for. Okay, that's just to kind of search through for one specific column. You can, of course, feel free to do a search across the entire feed. Let's find which ones have Mustang in it. Okay, all 77 have Mustang in them. Let's find the number 10. How many of them have 10 in it? Sorry, something may have gotten a little stuck there. Strange. Don't know why that didn't work. Maybe because all of these have 10s in them. Okay, anyway, let's say you did quite a few different actions and you got a result that you weren't happy with. We can go ahead and undo. Okay, we can kind of go back to where we were happy with things, or try to go back forward again. Basically, I got everything up until when I encoded it. Okay, the second that I have done or completed what I feel is necessary for this feed, I'll go ahead and publish it. Okay, until I've published it, I haven't really done anything. I've done the edits, but it's only in this window right here. I want to be able to save, and in order to save, I have to publish. Okay, when you publish, you do have to tell us what format would you like it exported in. If you notice, my original feed says .txt. That means that txt is like a tabs delimited text file, which is great. It could be beneficial, but maybe I want to use this within the AdCore system, and then I definitely would like an XML. Okay, because AdCore reads XMLs a lot better than it does text files. Let's say that you want to keep it in tabs delimited. Fine, go ahead and select the tabs delimited format. So you have JSON, whatever was the original one. In this case, it would just be .txt, tabs delimited, or XML. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep it on XML. I do want to give it a name. Okay, whatever edit I did right here, let's say this is for shopping. Okay, let's say this is for AdWords. I want to give that name to it. Okay, unless I click save, I'm not actually saving anything. It didn't do anything yet. Great, now I've actually saved it and I have a URL. Okay, if I want to, I can then take this destination URL, or sorry, this is the feed URL after it's been edited by the system, and I can go ahead and copy and paste that into, let's say, AdWords Shopping or AdWords Merchant. If I edited this specifically for eBay, I can also just copy and paste this and put that directly in eBay. There's other options as well, but I'm just saying this because this is kind of simple. Okay, you can just kind of copy and paste it. Great. Okay, we've done this. Like you saw, I wrote shopping AdWords. Let's go back into my interface here, and let me refresh this page called Feed Manager. Now, anytime that you are creating a feed in FeedEditor, you should be able to see here anything new that you came up with. Hold on. This one will be under all. So just a second. Okay, I called it Shopping AdWords. There it is. sorry, I have a question. Let me just go ahead and read that out. The question was, is it possible to make a column new price, which is, for example, 15% of the price column? And the answer to that is yes, you can. Let me just go ahead and show you where that's possible to do. Go back to, what did I do when I put my feet in there? There it is. Okay, let me just go ahead and show you where that's done. Okay, let's say we call this the margin, and let's say our margin is about, what do we say, 30%? 15%, sorry. 15% of our price. Okay, so what we want to do is actually, so there's going to be a function that's going to allow you to do math on different fields, but for right now, I'm just going to go do something like this, which is actually very, very simple. Here's my price column. Okay, this is the name of it. I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by 0.15. Look at that. That's my margin, 15% of my price. Fairly simple, right? Instead of having to go to kind of the script mode, which is what I just did, we will have a function for that very, very soon. So that's being added. But it's fairly simple to do, like you saw. I take the name of the column, multiply it by 15%. We will also add an additional functionality that can give you like an if statement. If the brand is this, then do the price times 15%. And if it's a different brand, then change the price by 20%. Okay, so you can kind of calculate your different margins that way as well. Okay, so that is also going to become available very, very soon. That was a really good question, and I kind of meant to do that before, so thank you for that. And again, I just made this change, but again, I didn't save it yet. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to do anything. I need to resave every time I make a new edit. Okay, just be aware of that. Again, it's still called Shopping AdWords. So if I go back into my interface here with the feed manager, I am back to having this right here called Shopping AdWords. Okay, so in the AdPort interface or in the feed editor interface, where you do still have these three options, the feed editor is where you're going to do the actual edits. Anytime that you save it or publish it, it will show up in your feed manager, like you saw over here. Okay, and you can also assign it to a specific client. So if this is my AdPort account, I have two clients, one that's called Creation Demo, the other one's called Optimization Reporting. I can go ahead and assign it to that specific client. Now, I want to leave this kind of as unassigned. It may not be relevant for a specific client in AdPort, maybe just something that I wanted for a third party, for something else, and then I can kind of leave this assigned. I can always change the name later on, but it stores my URL, which is great. Now, let's say that I would really like this to go to AdWords. Now, one of the options, like I mentioned, was to just kind of copy and paste that URL over here. But the second option, the much easier option, is to come and do that submission through software. Now, what's nice about that is that if you're submitting to eBay, to AdWords, to, let's say, 20 different shopping or third-party engines, you kind of want to be able to see where one location where you're basically doing all of that work. So here, for example, I've put in credentials to be able to take a feed, which is called the AdWords sample feed, but I can go ahead and change this. Let's say that I want to use the same one that I was using before. There. No, where's my, because I'm under a specific client. Sorry, I need to assign it to there. So let's just say that I have a feed that I created called for test. Okay, it's under this specific client, and I will choose to submit that to eBay. Okay, I still have to. So let's start this process from the beginning. Let's say that I have a brand new feed, and I want to go to AdWords, to Google Merchant. Okay, I come here and say actually the venue is going to be Google Shopping. Okay, and I need to provide the FTP username and password that will be used for Google Shopping. Those of you who are familiar with Google Merchant a little bit more, you'll know that in the settings portion of Google Merchant, you have the ability to set this up. It's a way of allowing a third party to come and push the feed to Merchant. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Let's say the username is username, and my password is just that. Okay, I do need to give it a feed name. It has to correspond to the name that you put in merchant itself. Okay, and I save those settings. Okay, so I created settings for Google Shopping, and I now have to select which feed is going to go there. Okay, let's go ahead and add that one to it as well. Okay, so the same URL that I created in FeedEditor will go ahead and go for eBay and for Google Shopping. And if you want to enable or allow it to make a change, you just schedule it. Okay, go ahead and send every single day to Google Shopping. Okay, that means that you don't have to go into Google Merchant and upload things manually. It's actually exactly the equivalent of copying and pasting that URL and having AdWords or Google Merchant pull the information on a daily basis, which is also possible within Google Merchant. But I don't know about other third parties. Some of them might be a little bit more difficult to deal with. It might be a lot easier to just kind of put them into this interface and allow us to push that data through. So we said Feed Editor allows you to do the editing. Feed Manager just gives you a list of all of the feeds that you're working with within the system, whether it's a FeedEditor project or something related to ITOR. And Feed Submission allows you to push your feed data, again, either on a daily basis, weekly basis, however often you would like, to any third party. Okay? eBay, Google, anyone that you see here in this drop-down, actually even other ones as well. There's a way of doing other, and again, you just need to kind of give us access. As long as that third party allows for FTP pushing, we can do that and add that to this interface. All right, so feed editing, feed manager, feed submission, all of these are part of our newest FeedEditor option. If there are any questions about this, about the first step in the process towards creating better campaigns, better third-party submissions, please feel free to ask them now. Okay, we do have a question here from before, which I didn't notice. Sorry about that, Jack. The question is, how do I know that the feed I create will meet the requirements of the channel, like the field names? So that's actually a really good question. And to answer that, basically, we've made it customizable for a reason. Can be so many different criteria for different shopping engines, for different third-party affiliate networks. It's really up to you to find that documentation. We do have some of that documentation. We had that before. I think we will be adding that in as well. It gives you like a shortcut to some of the more popular documentation on what they need for the feed. But for example, if we're talking about Google Merchant, for example, we know that we need the availability column, we need the Google product category, we need an ID number or some sort of a unique number to track it by. All of these things are listed in Google Merchant's help. Okay, and we will provide that shortcut to those credentials or the documentation that allows you to figure out what it is that you need. Most of these third parties, though, will also just give you, like, they'll let you know if something is missing. You'll try to submit it, it says, sorry, it didn't work, you're missing this, this, and this. Okay, so that is kind of free range. You can do what you need to, depending on what you want. Yes. Sorry, the question was, can you change the naming? So, for example, right now we have something called price, but it's underscore price underscore. Let's go ahead and change that. Okay, now it's just called price with no underscores, and that might be better for Google Merchant to read that. You can edit it, and you can say, you know, say how do you say price in another language? Speaks. Okay, you might want to do that in French. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can actually change all of them if you want to. You can go ahead and edit those things. Another question We're talking about tracking. I know there's a little bit of back and forth there with some answers. Are we going to integrate any type of tracking? Not at this time. In our case, you know, the feed editor, the solution is all about editing the feed itself. If you would like to add additional tracking to it, you can. It's not a problem. You know, you can always just wrap the URL that you're publishing in additional tracking, but I think it's a little bit cumbersome to have additional tracking in there. Just you know, just try to put in analytics and have it, you know, pixel in the website or on the pages that you're going to. That always tends to be a little bit better than having it like a third-party tracking, and then you have to integrate that as well. Okay, you can always add tracking, by the way, into the product destination URL as well. You want to edit this, you want to add additional tracking text to it, add text to the URL. Question mark, UTM source equals blah. Okay? You can always add that in. It's part of the nice part of the feed editor of being able to edit and change the feed itself. I can go ahead and do that for my product destination URL. It's always added to the end. You can take a look here. Oops. Okay, UTM source is blah. What you can also do is create brand new projects. So if the same exact destination, sorry, so the exact same source URL, you can create 5 versions of it. Each one will be beneficial for its own channel. So you can take one and say, let's say UTM source is eBay, and a second one which will be UTM source is Amazon, and a third and fourth, and etc. Okay, so you can publish brand new versions of it. You can create new projects based on the exact same stats that you have, and create a new version for Amazon, a new version for eBay, a new version for whatever affiliate third party you need. There was another question here. Can I select Bing Shopping or Amazon product ads even if I've never worked on it? Not exactly. You have to have an Amazon product ads account if you want to be able to submit a feed to it. Same thing with Bing Shopping. You have to set that up ahead of time. You have to have those accounts in order to be able to submit those feeds to it or be able to open up an FTP so that we can push to them. Okay, I hope that answered that question. And another question was, can you include the ID as a UTM? Yes, you can. I think that would have to be currently done in advanced mode, in the script mode. So let's just say, for example, I added text and I want to say the source is equal to information from my ISBN or something else. You have to switch over to the script mode right now, and you kind of have to add it in. Okay, it adds it in. It says, let's start with this, followed by the value inside of it. Or, yeah, or ID. If the name of the column was ID, you could do that. Another question, how does the feed editor compare to plugins like Congo from Magento? Both can handle regex like manipulation, feed creation, and submission. Personally, I'm not a third party. I do know our software is very simple to use. Okay, I don't know if you know regex writing and you know how to kind of write code. It may be the same for both. I don't know. I just know that, you know, like you saw here, just cancel those changes. This is a lot simpler to manipulate or to use than having to write in a regex. I think, you know, there's a lot of functionality here, and I'm not really sure what the full functionality is on Congo, but I do know that this one is very comfortable to use. Okay. Great. I think we've covered most of this functionality. If yeah, so if you have questions on specifically the cost of the feed editor on its own, I recommend you go to the feed editor website, put in your email. It is related to personal quotes. It's how much you know, how many domains you're using, how many products are on there, a lot of how many channels are you submitting to. So you do have to kind of get a personalized quote about the usage that you would like. But if you're looking for costs and things like that, just go ahead and go to the feeditor.com website, put in an email, talk to one of our sales guys, and see, get a sense for the pricing. And the question about, are we going to include more national platforms? Yes, as people use it more, if you have a specific platform that you would like us to be able to reach or to push to, it shouldn't be a problem. If you have an account like that, you can let us, give us the credentials for it. We can take a look at how it works with the FTP, and we can go ahead and add that in as well to the list. Yeah, so the other third parties like BestList and I think these are NL third-party providers. Yeah, I think we can already go ahead and push to those platforms. Okay. One last question here about the French agency. Yes, Philippe? We do have French sales reps. If you'd like to reach out, you can talk to Frédéric. Just write into the feed editor that you would like the French representative. He'll get back to you. Great. All right, guys. This webinar has been recorded. So what we'll do is we'll publish it, and we'll share it with you in the email. So you can also share it with additional colleagues, or reach out to anybody else who you think might be interested in this. It was a pleasure hosting you guys today. I hope you reach out again, see other things that we have to offer with the ITOR system and also with feed editor. Great. Thank you guys again, and see you next time.